say that this is only my opinion. This is just the way I feel about the Crockers. Now, if you haven't checked out any of the YouTube videos called the Crockers, the YouTube channel, the Crockers, I'm assuming, because I've only been following the Crockers for maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, but the Crockers, when I think the reason that maybe Jason Crocker named it the Crockers, I think it really was he and his twin brother, Jared Crocker and Jason Crocker. It does seem that Jason was the driving force, because certainly when the channel split apart, it was only Jason Crocker, but he kept the name the Crockers. So here we go. Let's just jump into what I think about the Crockers YouTube channel. Now, to let you know how I heard about the Crockers, I was enjoying watching some homesteading videos. I found Sow the Land, which I love that couple. They're a couple from California that have moved to North Carolina and are homesteading. So I was watching their videos, and then I found out they had a podcast, and listening to a podcast, their very first podcast, if you want to check it out, their very first podcast was an interview with Jason Crocker and Jaylina Crocker. That's a husband and wife. It was a sweet interview. Jason and Jaylina came across as just such a sweet, down-to-earth couple that were starting this YouTube channel and were doing some homesteading, and they had committed themselves to putting out one video every day for a year. So I thought, wow, this couple is very ambitious. The age of the couple, I'm guessing at that time maybe Jaylina was late 20s, Jason was early 30s, mid 30s, and just a sweet couple. So I started following their channel, honestly, just because I wanted to support this young, hardworking couple that had started this YouTube channel. Well, as I watched it, you realize that they were unhappy together. You did meet them, but well, let me go back. Jason's twin brother and Jaylina were all living together. It was the twin brothers and Jason's wife were all living together on a small farm. Let's say it was only a couple of acres, I think, outside Dallas, Texas. And when I started following them, Jason and Jaylina were wanting to get out on their own and look for property, and they started looking for property, and it was really cute videos. If you want to go back and watch them, it was cute videos watching Jason and Jaylina look at properties. And then it's kind of like House Hunters, if you've ever seen the HGTV show House Hunters. They would go around looking at properties, and then they would come back and talk about it, and then they did a video where they told which one they chose. Well, Jason chose one, probably the most undesirable piece of property. He chose this rocky, unlevel piece of property, probably just the worst piece of property he could have chosen in Oklahoma. But you realize after you continue watching, the reason he took it was free. I think another YouTuber, and this is my opinion now, from what I gathered, this YouTuber, and I think that YouTuber's name is Keeping It Dutch, which he has a pretty successful YouTube channel, more successful than Jason. Sorry, guys. But Keeping It Dutch actually contacted him through YouTube, showed him the land, and I really think they gave him the land. I think he deeded, and this is just my opinion, from what I gathered, Keeping It Dutch deeded this land to Jason, probably if he just paid the taxes and maybe paid the POA dues. I have a feeling there's some property owner association dues associated with this property, and that's probably why Keeping It Dutch didn't want it. And also Keeping It Dutch probably realized too, it just wasn't good, productive land. There's very little level land. It's very steep, it's very rocky, you really can't grow anything on it. Anyway, around Christmas time, they announced on their YouTube channel that they were buying this property in Oklahoma, getting this property in Oklahoma. I doubt they paid anything for it. Well, right after Christmas, they come on and say that Jason is going to the property alone, and Jaylina is going to stay in Dallas to visit some friends. And after a few weeks, it comes out that Jason and Jaylina are separating, and they later get divorced. But I know I went into a lot of backstory, but it was very interesting at first as you watch Jason move out to this property in Oklahoma in a tent, in a $20 Walmart tent, as he claims, and he's trying to build this off-grid cabin alone. Well, guys, I have to admit it was entertaining. So if you want some laughs, go back and watch those videos. It's just really entertaining, and well, it's just interesting to watch the struggle. It reminds me of those reality type shows like Naked and Afraid. If any of you've ever watched any of those, it reminds me of that, because it's just watching the human struggle of being out there with no electricity, no water, and so it was very interesting, and you watched it, but what was so crazy about it, and this is so, forgive me, Jason Crocker, for saying this, but what was so crazy about it, he just didn't he just didn't do anything right. I mean, I don't know much about off-grid living, but you'd think, just from watching those Naked and Afraid shows, first thing, you've got to have water. You have to find a water source. I mean, he should have, and shelter. I mean, he should have known he needed shelter and water. He has been on that property now for a year and say 8 months, and just in the last month did he put out a video where he put up some gutters to catch some rain. I mean, a year and 8 months before you started trying to collect rainwater. I mean, I think anybody, if you ever sit down and think about it, he should have built a little pole barn, put some gutters on it, had some water tanks, started collecting water from the first week. And also that little pole barn structure, he could have put his tent under and had a little bit better living conditions if his tent was underneath this pole barn, this shelter. And then he could have worked on the cabin, but he didn't do that. He starts building this cabin, and his older brother, not the twin brother, but the older brother, Matt, comes out, and I believe helps him dig some holes so they can put some post up. They do put the post up and put a floor down like you were going to build a deck. And then after Matt leaves, he starts trying to build walls. Well, I don't know if he didn't have blueprints, or I don't know, but it was a disaster. He worked on it. He finally admitted it was not going well, and he tore it all down. Well, he left the platform, but he tore the walls down, and then he started just building this little, and I wish I knew the dimensions, but I bet it's not more than 10 by 16. I mean, this thing he's built now is no bigger than a shed. I mean, it really should have taken him a weekend, maybe a week, to put this shelter up. Well, it took him over a year. Like I said, it's been a year and 8 months, and it does have walls now. It has windows now. It has a door. It actually has a roof. And since he's got girlfriend number 3 living out there, I guess she wouldn't stay out there without air conditioning. So he did buy a really small window unit and uses a generator, gas power generator, to have some AC out there. But anyway, it's just a funny channel, and I have enjoyed watching it. But I have to admit, I've lost interest now. I mean, Jason, bless his heart, I don't know if he has some kind of ADD or some kind of disorder that inhibits him from actually following through with a project or completing a project, because he has good ideas, and he's cute as he's out there trying to figure things out, but so far the poor guy, nothing has worked out. And also I have to go back and say, Jaylena, the wife, she has her own channel now. It's called Leave Her Wild. She's now building a bus out in Oregon. She seems like a precious, hard-working woman, and so please check out her channel if you haven't, because she's been through a lot. I really admire her for sticking with Jason as long as she did, supporting him as long as she did. I really think the success of his channel, the Crockers, was because of her hard work. I mean, she definitely was helping build that channel until they did split, and he started building this cabin in Oklahoma. But I have to say this about poor Jason. And Jason, I'm sorry. I'm not. You're probably a wonderful person, but your channel, and I hope this is advertisement for your channel, because I mean, it was an interesting channel for a while. Now at this time, it's not very interesting. You probably won't want to watch any of the recent episodes. Jason, was with Jaylena when they split up. I think Keeping It Dutch or some other YouTubers realized his viewership was going down. This is what I've just heard rumors of, that other YouTubers reached out and were saying, hey, this is what you need to do. You've got to find you a girl to come out there and help you build an attractive girl, and that's going to help people want to watch your channel, because with your thumbnails you'll have this pretty girl and cut off shorts helping you build. Because Jaylina is a beautiful girl. So he hires this girl named Melissa. He hires her to come out there, but at first he pretends that, oh, she's just a friend that wants to learn to live off grid and help me build. But later when it doesn't work out, when she gets out there and sees what a mess it is and how it's really not livable out there, she doesn't stay very long. I don't know if she stayed 2 months or 3 months, but it didn't last long, and Melissa went back to Dallas. But he then admits that, yes, YouTubers gave me the idea, and yes, I was paying her to come out and work during the week, and then she was going back to Dallas on the weekend. And so then he was single again for a while. And honestly, I don't think he and Melissa were ever an item. It truly was, work relationship. But I think that having that little, for the show, for the videos, to make them more interesting, I do think that Jason and Melissa kind of would imply that maybe there was a spark there, maybe there was going to be something. And even sitcoms will do that, with have the two actors, you think, well, maybe they're going to get together, and that made it more interesting. And it did. It made it more interesting. But I truly think Jason and Melissa were just, doing it for YouTube, and it didn't work out. She just couldn't take living in that horrible situation that Jason had created out in Oklahoma. But now Jason has, the divorce was final, and he wasn't divorced yet now when all that was going on with Melissa. The divorce is final now. And Jaylina's in Oregon, the first wife, and now he is dating a nurse from Oklahoma. And it's sweet because this nurse from Oklahoma, she's got a good job, she's got a home, she's got air conditioning and a shower and a car that runs. So Jason's really in high cotton, as they say now. He now has access to a shower and electricity and a car that runs. And so his life has gotten better because he's dating this nurse. And apparently one day a week or something, she's driving out to the property. They're making a few videos to, try to keep the channel going. But I don't know. I mean, I hope it works out for Jason. I hope this nurse, will continue to take care of him, and they'll have a happy life together, because she seems very sweet. And like I say, Jason's sweet too, but he's definitely the off-grid building a cabin on your own didn't work out for him. But from these YouTube channels, we can also, not only do we learn how to do things, we can learn how not to do things. And definitely, if you want to learn what not to do, what not to do in an off-grid cabin, follow the Crockers, and especially that part of the Crockers where he is living off-grid in Oklahoma. Anyway, I know it was rambly. It's fun talking to you guys. Leave your comments down below what you think about the Crockers and what you think about Jason and Jaylina. And by the way, in another video, we're going to talk about when Jaylina, after they'd already filed for divorce, Jaylina comes and lives on the off-grid property for a couple months. We'll talk about that in the next video. Hey, it was fun talking to you guys. Bye.